What's up, folks? How's it going? This is Avit here, and welcome to DevOps Challenge Hub. So let's start with today's interview question. Let me share my screen. So today we have a miscellaneous question on Lambda. So we'll go through a couple of questions. So first question is, what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous invocation in Lambda? Synchronous and asynchronous. So let's say you go to a restaurant, order food, you wait there for maybe 10-15 minutes, then food is served, you finish your food and return back home. So that's kind of synchronous. So you place the order, you wait for the order. And once the order comes, you finish your work, then come back. Means finish your food and come back. That is the synchronous one. Asynchronous is from your home, you just call up that I want this food. And after maybe half an hour, 1 hour, they deliver to your home address. So in that 1 hour time, you do some other activity. Once the food comes, you finish your food. So you don't wait for the food. This 1 hour, you do something else, right? So synchronous means when user is waiting for that. When you are logging into a web application. So user type the password and username password, and it has to verify immediately. It has to come back. Like maybe it will take 3-4 seconds. So user will be waiting to log in. User is waiting there. So it has to be synchronous. But there can be scenarios where it can be asynchronous. For example, you upload a file to S3 bucket, and then some Lambda gets triggered. It creates uploaded a movie file. It creates the thumbnail of the movie. It captures some metadata of the movie, right? Like video codec, audio codec, all this information, so dumps into some database. So all this will happen in the background. Like you don't need to wait for it, or the user or the admin who is uploading the video, he doesn't need to wait for it. He will just upload the video, and background this Lambda will trigger. It will create the thumbnail, etc., thumbnail image of the movie, etc. Metadata. It will store in the background. So that's asynchronous. User is not waiting for it. User is not waiting for that function to return. So as synchronous call means you make a call, wait for it, call does the processing, and then return back to you, right? For example, login. You make a call goes, check whether this username password is right or not, and then it returns back, yes, you are right, you are allowed to log in. But some in other scenario, you make a call, you say do this job, then you forget, fire and forget. You do this job, and immediately call returns back. You don't bother whether maybe it's taking 10 minutes, 5 minutes, half an hour. After that, it will inform you. Maybe it will, through some callback, it will inform, or it will write into some dead letter queue, or in final destination. So that way it can do the job. So synchronous is that caller waits for the function results. API gateway Lambda call. Caller receives the function response or an error. Asynchronous invocation, the caller receives an immediate acceptance. Lambda processes the event later. Lambda handles retries and can route failures to dead letter queue or failure destination. Asynchronous flows are useful for decoupling and smoothing burst, decoupling the system. So this system is decoupled, means this guy can do some other job also. Like I make a call, order the food, I can do some other work. I am not stuck. Like I can like do some other work, right? So this 1 hour. But if I go to restaurant, I order the food, I sit. Nowadays people have mobile, they can do other tasks, but earlier days you don't have any other option. Like you will sit there, right? You will wait for the food. Food comes, you will finish your food, go back to your office. Okay, so parallelly you can't do anything. So you are wasting your time there. So it's like it's coupled. That synchronous means it's a system is coupled actually, right? And asynchronous, it's a decoupling happening. Okay. So next question is explain Lambda execution environment, cold start and warm start. So what is a cold start and warm start? So Lambda means you're serverless, right? You are giving a code. You said this is my Python code. This is the function, and you have to execute if some event happens. And I'm not creating any server, etc. You do everything, set up environment, etc. So now, first time when you are running, it has to set up that find a space in some server, set up that Python or a version environment, etc., and packages, etc. It takes some time. That's called cold start. but already one call has been made, and immediately after 2 seconds you make another call. So setup is already there. So a call will be executed. That's a warm start. It will be like you don't need that initial setup time, right? Or it happens you made a call, maybe after 5 6 hours, again you make another call. So you made a call, and after a few seconds, or maybe this AWS will wait. No other call, no other API call coming. It will deprovision the system, right? Deprovision all the environment, all the setup. So if it is idle for some time, again it has to set up. So that's called a cold start. Cold start happens when Lambda creates a new execution environment. Operating system, runtime, function initialization occurs at latency. So this will take some time, actually, right? Runtime, function initialization, and it at latency. So that API response will be delayed. But function execution may, if it takes 2 seconds or 3 seconds, maybe another 1 or 2 seconds will get added up because of that cold start, because it has to do all this additional setup. Warm start, it's using an already existing environment, already initialized environment. So it's faster because initialization was already done. How to mitigate? How do you like reduce that latency, etc., and reduce the cold start? So what you can do, reduce the package size. Instead of a huge package size, you can reduce it. Maybe you can break into two different functions so that this function depends on two dependency. This function also depends on two dependency instead of one guy depending on 4 5 6 dependency. So all this has to be loaded up. It will increase the latency. Then you can do provision concurrency. Provision concurrency means you can already say that provision like a 2 3 environment for this. Uh, so that's kind of keep some environment initially. We'll see this later in our MCQ. What are lambda limits you should be aware of? What are lambda limits you should be aware of? Okay. So what are the lambda limits you should be aware of? Means timeout. Key limits to design. One is a timeout, 50 minutes timeout. If your task takes more than 50 minutes, then you cannot use lambda. Memory, it's a configurable per function. So you need to check as per the documentation what is the CPU and max memory we can use. And a deployment package, limits for zip package and container image size. So there are certain limits. Like if it is a plain Python function, don't have a lot of dependency, you don't need a zip package, but you may need some special Python packages. So for that you have to provide a zip package, and there is a size limit for that. Container images allow larger bundles. So this is also the guidelines, and it keeps changing. Then ephemeral storage /TMP storage available to function, commonly 512 MB. Maybe you're creating some temporary files. So what's how much space is required, and if you're creating a lot of files, then whether this is enough or not, or you are downloading some video and then you want to run something, so that space may not be enough. Uh, Whatever temp file is available, temp storage is available, so you may need extra space. But all these things you have to think of while writing your lambda function. So storage, like if you, let's say you want to take you want to download a 1 GB file, so you can't download because it's only 520. And after downloading 1 GB file, you want to run some command. That is not possible. So you need a separate storage for that. So the other points like CPU, memory, timeout, how much time to execute your function, what kind of deployment packages you need, what are the dependencies, how big is that, what is the size, all these things we need to keep in mind. We are the lambda limits we should be aware of. Next one is how do you pass configuration or secrets to lambda? So one is through environment variable. Environment variable. I think this is I've shown this demo. Like over there, I created some video which I have shown 2 days back, where she was passing environment variable. You can check that first lambda session, lambda interview questions. Then secret manager, you can store your secrets in the secret manager. Then you can make it a page called lambda pages at runtime. You just make a AWS Boto3 call, and you get the details. Okay. And similarly for system manager parameters. This is the way you can pass configuration and secrets to Lambda. What is Lambda layer? When do you use it? So Lambda layer is a way to package and share common libraries, binaries, and runtime extension separately from the function code. So when to use it? Share dependencies across multiple functions. Reduce each function's deployment package size, or include native libraries compiled for Lambda runtime. So Lambda layer promotes reuse, or sometimes you have some additional packages needed which are not by default available in their environment. Python environment 3.1, it's 1.0 environment is not available by default. So you need to install those packages, which is not by default available. So you have to package them in a zip file and provide them. So, and that's how you provided a layer. That is called layer. So for providing additional packages, common libraries, binaries, you use Lambda layer. How do you debug a Lambda function? Debugging Lambda function, obviously log. So here we will look at CloudWatch log, CloudWatch log insights, AWS X-ray, right? Local debugging. So best practices from command line also you can run set through function locally with events. Best practices, structured login, log levels, correlation IDs, and meaningful metrics and alarm. Include error context for tracing. So logging should be structured. Different kind of loggings like info, warning, debug. So the different kind of log level you can set. Then correlation IDs, whatever the IDs you are putting, mentioning, you should be able to correlate. This is because of this event. Print event ID, prevent other ID details, so that you are able to correlate. And from CloudWatch log also you'll be able to see. Now let's go to the quiz section. You can pause the video and try to answer whatever we have discussed. Based on that, this is the quiz. Which is an example of synchronous lambda invocation? Synchronous lambda, I said that we have to go and we have to wait for the return of the function. Like we will call the function, it will finish its job, right? Going to restaurant, place the order. Order is ready. It's served to our table. We finish our food, then come back. So it's like that. So that means, what is an example of synchronous lambda invocation? API gateway request, lambda validates login credential. So this is the, because user is waiting. User entered the username password, user is waiting. So lambda will check and get back. API gateway request, lambda validates login credential. Which is an example of asynchronous lambda invocation? Asynchronous lambda. Shall I invoke API gateway request? No. Asynchronous is S3 upload, trigger S3 upload trigger, lambda to process the file. Like that lambda will be generating that metadata, thumbnail of the video, right? So this is the one. The answer is C. What is lambda cold start? Cold start, the initial start, which takes a little more time, latency is a little more. So when a new execution environment must be created, including runtime and initialization. So that's the cold start. Answer is B. Which of the following increases cold start latency the most? Cold start latency because of heavy runtime. If runtime is heavy like Java.NET or GPC networking other one. So this will increase the cold start. Answer is C. What is the maximum timeout for lambda function? Maximum timeout we know 15 minutes. Maximum timeout 15 minutes. Which AWS service is best for securely storing and rotating database credentials for lambda? AWS Secret Manager. What is the purpose of lambda layers? Lambda layer we provide additional libraries, etc. Right? To share libraries dependency across multiple functions. Answer is C. Which is the primary service to view lambda log? How do you view lambda log? We use AWS CloudWatch log. How can we reduce lambda cold start issue? Cold start issue, use provisioned concurrency, smaller package at lighter runtime. So we use this. So what is like normally when a lambda function is invoked after being added, AWS has to create a new execution environment. So that's called cold start. So provision concurrency is a feature where that gives a predefined number of execution environment warm and ready to serve requests instantly. You can configure the number 5, 10, 100. AWS gives that many environment initialized at all times. So when request comes, Lambda reuses one of the pre-warmed environment, avoiding cold latency. So from command line, you can enable provision concurrency on a public version or an alerts. So this is the way we're enabling it. AWS Lambda put provision concurrency config, we're putting the configuration file. So AWS ensures 5 execution environment are always initialized. To reduce the cold start latency. Reduce the latency. Because of cold start, it adds latency. So that's it for today. Hope you like this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also follow my LinkedIn page, DevOps Challenge. I post quiz contests daily, and you can participate in that. And also follow my WhatsApp communities where and your number will be hidden. So other members won't be able to see. So you can join this community. And I post jobs and interview tips, career tips, etc. You will find the link down below in this video. Thank you for watching this video and see you again in the next video.